Hey everybody, it's Gil here with the sailing vessel Dream Chaser, and in last week's episode, we headed east. Might have thought it was in the boat, but it wasn't. It was in the camper, as you saw, but we're getting over there. We have a place for the camper for a few months, and the idea was to find the right place to sail the boat to. In this week's episode, I traveled back up to New Jersey. Chasity asked to come along with me. I think more to get away from her little sister than to actually spend time with me, but either way, I'm going to take advantage of it. But we do something really cool. I get tickets to Hamilton and take you along for the ride. Obviously not showing the play because that ain't right. But we go into the city and I get to take Chazzy on some of her first experiences in the city, which are pretty cool. I'll show you that little bit. And then I'm also going to take you to the Barnegat Lighthouse. It's a pretty cool historical lighthouse in the area. And I decided to climb to the top. So, I don't know, 213 steps or whatever it was. And took a little video from up there and kind of show you a little bit of the history of that. Hope you guys enjoy the ride. Can I send that to your mom, that picture? It has been quite a whirlwind week. This day last week, Sunday last week, I flew to New Orleans. I arrived late in the evening, spent some time with the family. Monday spent time on the boat doing some work on it, replacing bilge pumps and getting everything set up to be away from the boat for a little bit. Tuesday we hooked up the camper, Monday night we hooked up the camper. Tuesday morning, first thing, 7 a.m. we took off. We arrived in Fort Myers, Florida about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night on Tuesday night. Wednesday, we got up in the morning, needed to go stock the camper, food and stuff like that. So we took off, went to breakfast, went ahead and went grocery shopping and whatnot. We looked around at a few neighborhoods on Wednesday in that particular area in Cape Coral. Thursday, we rented that boat. We sounded out different places around the water canals to see how deep they were. It was Thursday. Friday, we met with a realtor. We went around and saw, 8 or 9 houses. Saturday morning, I went ahead and Deb and I met with a couple of open houses that we didn't see with the realtor, but we wanted to check out. And Saturday night, I flew back to New Jersey. Chasity came with me. We arrived last night. I guess our flight got in about 11 o'clock p.m., and we got here at 1 a.m. or something like that by the time we got back to my dad's. Today, went ahead and mowed the grass and just did some stuff that needed to be done around the house after being gone for a week here. And I'm right now cooking up a couple of things here just to have for the next couple of days for Chasity while I'm working during the day and she's hanging out here. I'm really excited she wanted to come with me. I think part of it was to get away from her little sister, but listen, at the end of the day, it's one of the first times she asked to come with me. I think we're going to look and see if we can go see a Broadway play. Hamilton's expensive. I don't know if we'll go see that, but I know she's been talking about it for a long time. So I'm going to check out prices on that just to see. So let me show you what I got in the grill here. I'm a fan of cabbage steaks. Basically just cut them about 1 inch thick, a little olive oil and salt and pepper. And there you have a delicious cabbage steak. This one's getting a little soft, which means it's getting close to being done. And I need to put the camera down now so I can use those tongs and do this the right way on these last 2 halves. One of the pitfalls of doing video is every once in a while you end up with a malfunction in your equipment. The mic's off or something like that. And most times I can just do a retake. This time it wasn't that easy. I have this footage. It was a one-time moment. And I don't know what happened, but I have 0 audio on it. It's so frustrating. I'm going to play it anyway because this was a really special moment. I wanted to share it with you, and I'm going to do my best to just talk about what's being said since you're going to see our mouths moving away and no dang sound. Mistakes. And again, not a retake when you're trying to film a surprise of some sort. I hate having audio problems, but that's what we're seeing here. So in this piece of footage, I'm talking about the fact that I did find tickets online. They look like they are going to be in the balcony section just to the side of the stage. They're slightly obstructed seats, so I think they'll work pretty well, but it won't be the same view as if we were sitting directly in the front. But before that, it's time to make a little dinner with Chaz and I. She decided she wanted to go ahead and make macaroni and cheese. So instead of opening up the Kraft box, I went ahead and showed her how to make macaroni and cheese from scratch, which she did, and it came out pretty good, though she suggested we add milk, and I said no, and it was a little dry. She was right. We also went ahead and grilled a little bit of chicken out there on the grill. So I actually cooked these a couple weeks ago for the dog. They looked really good, and decided that we would have those. In this case, Chaz has given us a little bit of a review on how the mac and cheese is. I'm guessing it's good because she turned and walked away, which is what teenagers do when, well, all the time. Here she's opening up the package. I told her we got a package. She'd take a look, see what it is. She pulled it out and kind of put it down and starting to read it. I think it took a few moments for it to sink in on what it was. So she was excited, and I could tell didn't really know how to react to it. But all in all, we were pretty excited. So we will take you along up to Broadway when we go see Hamilton. So I wish when it's a surprise there would be a greater facial expression from a teenager, but not quite. Either way, I could tell she was really excited. And as it got closer to the day we were leaving, she got real excited. So the plan was we were going to drive the car up and actually park in a parking garage right there, kind of a block away or so from the theater. I went ahead and made reservations for a parking place there. We got downtown. The plan was to get in a little bit early, walk around Times Square a little bit, take a cab or an Uber over to a place for dinner. Chasity has German heritage, and she asked her where she wanted to eat, and she said, I'd never had German food. I'd love to try it. So we went to a German restaurant. So what do we got?
Hamilton tickets.
You excited? Yeah, I am too. Instead of taking an Uber, we actually just went into the cab line at the Marriott Marquis right there at Times Square, because there's always a queue of cabs, nice and easy to do. And we took a cab rather than Uber to the restaurant and gave her a good New York experience. I thought about doing the subway, but honestly, I'm not very familiar with it, and I didn't want to get lost or, have her in a place where I didn't feel safe about it.
Backstreet's back. Oh yeah.
It's alright.
Backstreet's back. All right.
You excited riding in the cab? Is this the first time in the cab? Yeah. We are going to a place called the Beer House. Bier. It's a German restaurant. I'm not taking a 13-year-old to go have beer.
I have tried it though. It's
You
not
have?
very good.
No, it's not, is it? It's very hoppy.
Is that pun?
Well, no, it has hops in it.
And there is the Richard Rodgers Theater, where we'll be in just a little while.
We're at the Beer House, and we even have, look at that, look at our little spot. You getting potato pancakes? Yeah, it's not a lot of applesauce. All right, we have potato pancakes, and I got a flight of beers. What the heck? I haven't had beer in years. What do you think?
If you get drunk, I will yeet you off the balcony. I do not do well around drunk adults.
So I have a Hofbrau Original, famous since 1589. That one's actually pretty good.
What beer is this?
This one is a Hefeweizen. That one's pretty good.
You said that for the first one.
I like that one better, actually. We got a pork shank for $2. It's huge. Oh, the carnage.
Is that a bone joke?
No, it's a destruction joke. We didn't eat much, nor did I drink much, but I had a sip of each, so I think I'm good.
I think that the second one was your favorite.
Yeah, I think it was too. I gotta try the first one again.
Do what you want. No neck. I feel like a German now.
Because you ate a potato pancake and a hunk of pork shank? All right. So after a good meal in the German restaurant, we decided we'd walk back instead. We had plenty of time. We walked back down to Times Square, probably about a mile or so, and we just kind of walked all around Times Square. I went to the M&M store. You know, you got to sort of do that when you get there. And we just kind of hung out. Chaz said, "Hey, my feet are hurting a little bit. Let's have grab a place to sit." So we found a little Starbucks and each grabbed I got a coffee. She got a hot chocolate, and we sat down and just kind of waited for the time it was going to be to go ahead and get in line for Hamilton. It was kind of cool. We went and had an early dinner at a German place, and then we walked from the lower west side up toward Times Square. We're hanging out up here right now. We are shopping in the M&M store. You looking for anything? Yeah. Yeah? All right, find one. Because I'm a nerd and you love it. And we're here and it's about to start. I'm going to turn off my phone, but we're excited.
It was
I'm
good.
videoing you.
It was good.
Yeah? Did you cry? That is the line to get our car. Ugh. I must say it was really good. I enjoyed it. I was pretty shocked at just how good all the singing and songs were. I decided to drive on down to the Barnegat Lighthouse. We'll see. Decide whether or not I climb the 217 steps to the top, but we'll play that one by ear. The lighthouse was actually constructed in 1834, kind of a welcome sight to mariners as they crossed the Atlantic Ocean on their way to New York. Seeing this meant they were close to shore. However, there's a barrier island here, which is what we're on, Long Beach Island, and this was the opening on the Barnegat Inlet on into protected waters. About 20 years after it was built, it was deemed to be unsafe. They actually rebuilt it in 1859. As you can see, it's not easy to get something like this all in frame, but it's a pretty good size for sure. Take a look out here and see what they're catching. Definitely looks like the tide's running pretty good for sure. There we go. Shows the parts of the lighthouse. Lightning rod, ventilator, a copper roof. You got the lantern inside a lantern gallery, a watch room, a watch gallery, a stone bracket, not sure what that's for, the lens pedestal, the ladder going out, a ventilator, the first order Fresnel lens, and then a bird screen. And cast iron stair. What's interesting is that there's a wall cavity, and I don't know the reason for that. Up we go. I like the sign. It says you've climbed 16 steps, 201 more to go. Yep. Goodbye. I'll stand still while you go. Uh-huh. Alright, I'm 78 of the way up there, so I'm already winded a little bit. Taking a break. It's wild. There's a wall cavity between the inner and outer wall. When you feel that, there's cool air coming through there. It's kind of cool. You're good. So it's pretty amazing. We're standing in the watch room, and this right here is where the innkeepers would stay when they were on duty. The balcony outside is called the watch gallery, but the watch room was equipped with a stove, not to keep the innkeepers warm. It was actually to keep the viscosity of the oil low enough so that it would continue to burn in cold weather. The crazy thing is they had to go up these stairs twice a day in cold weather and rub glycerin on the outside of the glass so it wouldn't frost over and continue to have a bright enough light to illuminate out into the sea.
Not sure why you can see it. The tide's running pretty good. The water's good and clear. It's probably 6 or 7 feet where we're seeing that right there. Sailboat coming in right here. Pretty cool. So I mentioned that this is a barrier island. You can really sort of get a view of what I was talking about right there. If you look, it's the Atlantic over on the left-hand side, and then inside is, I think it's the Manahawkin River, but essentially the protected waters. So I'm glad I did this. It was a pretty cool little adventure. It's cool to see things like this. This is the base that holds the Fresnel lens. Believe it or not, this entire thing rotated originally by a weight that was wrapped around a rope and hung down the side, and the weight slowly would pull it and rotate this thing. It shows you just how well it was engineered. Originally, when this thing was first built, it was actually burning lard. That's what it actually burned with. And then in 1888, they converted it to kerosene. And then sometime in the early 1900s, it went to some kind of incandescent oil vapor, which is kind of cool. So now, as long as nobody's coming, I'm gonna make my way down. But as you get up to the top, that staircase is narrow. It is very little room for someone to pass. So away we go. I feel very uncoordinated. I'm really holding on to make sure I don't slip or something, just because, well, it's a long way down if you do. Well, in the end, I'm glad I ended up going up it. It was kind of a cool view. It was nice to go ahead and walk up the steps. When I came down, I sat down on a little bench there and just chatted with a guy who is a vexillologist, which, by the way, is the study of flags and banners. And I wanted to say that on film because I know I will never remember that name, vexillologist. But it was a good discussion. I sat there chatting with him for about an hour.
A nice looking sunset. It'd be better if it was over a beautiful body of water, but instead it's over Highway 37 and west.
Well, all in all, I had a great time going down to the Barnegat Lighthouse. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. I know it wasn't a lot of the normal stuff here, but taking my granddaughter to go see Hamilton in New York City was phenomenal. I enjoyed the heck out of the play. Ironically enough, as I watched the footage, I promise you she enjoyed it as well. But man, that teenager emotion is hard to get out. But then going down to the Barnegat Lighthouse was another great time. So thanks everybody for watching. Safe sailing, and we'll see you next Friday.
Edible egg.